Hello everyone and welcome to this explainer. Listen, if you're a busy Dep Ed teacher, a school principal, or an HR officer, you know exactly how overwhelming policy updates can be. You're already juggling lesson plans, school management, and a dozen other responsibilities, and then bam, a dense bureaucratic document lands on your desk. Well, today, we're taking Dep Ed Order No. 034 Series of 2025, that's the amendments to the expanded career progression system, and we're turning it into a clear, actionable roadmap for your career. Your time is incredibly valuable, so we're going to strip away all that jargon and focus entirely on exactly what this means for your professional growth.
So to keep things moving, we've broken this down into 5 key areas. Number 1, the merit-based framework. 2, who is covered. 3, earning promotion points. 4, assessing teacher performance. And finally, number 5, the transition period.
Okay, so just to set the stage, this order was issued to clarify transitory provisions, refine policy guidelines, and honestly, just make sure the shift to the expanded career progression system, the ECP system, is smooth and fair. Think of this as your official playbook for how career advancement is going to be handled from here on out.
Let's dive right into Section 1, the merit-based framework.
The whole philosophy of how Dep Ed handles promotions is going through a massive and frankly absolutely exciting shift. It's all about recognizing your real-world capabilities. The policy explicitly states that promotion is anchored on the attainment of prescribed qualification, performance, and competency standards rather than on automatic advancement derived solely from length of service. Basically, it's no longer just about waiting your turn or counting the years you've clocked in. It's strictly about merit, fitness, and competence. Your education, your training, and your actual professional accomplishments are going to be assessed holistically. If you're putting in the hard work and delivering results, this system is literally designed to reward you for it.
Moving on to Section 2, who is covered? Let's talk about your potential career trajectory. If you're in the teacher class, you can now progress from Level 1 all the way up to Level 7, which caps out at salary grade 17. Master teachers? You can climb from Level 1 to Level 5, reaching salary grade 22. And for school principals, the range is Level 1 to Level 4, covering salary grades 19 to 22. It's a very clear, highly structured ladder for your career.
But hey, I want to respect your time. If you fall into certain job groups, this specific order doesn't actually apply to you. We're talking about guidance counselors and coordinators, school farming coordinators, vocational instruction supervisors, and school librarians. It also totally excludes teaching positions in non-Dep Ed managed schools, places like the Philippine Science High Schools or state universities. Oh, and for our colleagues in the BARM region, these rules don't automatically apply unless the region explicitly chooses to adopt them locally. So if you're in one of those groups, you can actually breathe easy. These particular hoops aren't for you.
All right, Section 3, earning promotion points. This is the fun part.
The policy gives this really fantastic example of how going beyond the minimum requirements gives you a massive competitive edge. Let's say you're applying for a Teacher 3 position. Now, the absolute minimum requirement for that is a bachelor's degree. But what if you've gone above and beyond and knocked out some master's units, or even a relevant degree? Well, you don't just get a pat on the back, you actually get corresponding bonus points in the comparative assessment. And the exact same logic applies to master teacher applicants bringing doctoral units to the table. Your continuous professional development literally translates into promotion points.
Now, for master teachers, there are some very specific allocation ratios and experience rules we need to cover. First off, the ratio. There's one master teacher position allocated for every 3 to 5 teachers per subject in secondary levels. But what if you've been assigned to teach outside of your core academic field? The order clarifies you'll need at least 5 years of cumulative teaching experience in that specific subject to qualify. Also, and this is huge, through the recognition of prior learning, functionally related previous work experience from the private sector now actually counts. And if you were a head teacher previously, that experience brilliantly counts as both teaching experience and school management experience when you're applying for principal roles.
Okay, if you're a current principal listening to this, get ready because this is fantastic news. All incumbent school principals are no longer required to pass the school head assessment, the NQESH, or submit a certificate of rating when applying for a reclassification or promotion to higher principal positions. Dep Ed is finally acknowledging that your established leadership experience, your proven track record, and the records already sitting right there in your 201 files are absolute proof of your competency. You're already doing the job, you don't need to be tested on paper for it anymore.
Let's move to Section 4, assessing teacher performance.
Time to bust through some classic bureaucratic acronyms. First up is COI, or Classroom Observable Indicators.
Just like it sounds, these are the skills and proficiencies you actually demonstrate in a classroom setting with your learners. What's really great here is the effort to streamline everything. If you had a classroom observation conducted in the immediately preceding school year, that rating can actually be used for your promotion purposes, as long as it's distinct from your regular performance management schedule. And that makes up 25% of the point system for the PPST-COI criterion.
Next is NCOI, non-classroom observable indicators. Think of this as your behind-the-scenes work. Your performance here is assessed through portfolio annotations and behavioral events interviews, or BEIs. The order makes it super clear that the means of verification, your MOVs, should come straight from your regular teaching duties. We're talking everyday things, your lesson plans, assessment materials, learning action cell session documents. The point is you don't need to invent new paperwork. You just need to systematically organize the great work you are already doing every single day.
Now, every single Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers, or PPST indicator, maps out beautifully into either a COI or an NCOI across all 7 domains. For example, look at Domain 6 and Domain 7. They are entirely non-classroom observable indicators. Knowing how this breaks down is your secret weapon for strategically organizing your portfolio. You'll know exactly what requires an observer to physically be in the room with you and what simply requires you to pull a really solid lesson plan out of your files.
So what happens if you're currently in an administrative role, maybe you're a principal, and you want to switch back to classroom teaching? Well, you have to prove you're still sharp in front of the learners. It's a 3-step process. Step 1, you'll undergo a COI assessment through an actual classroom observation. Step 2, you'll submit relevant MOVs to cover those non-classroom indicators. And Step 3, you'll sit down for a behavioral events interview. Sure, it's thorough, but it guarantees that anyone returning to the classroom is fully equipped and completely aligned with current PPST standards. And finally, Section 5, the transition period.
Look, policy shifts like this can be seriously intimidating, especially if you were right on the verge of a promotion under the old rules. But here's the good news. DepEd has built in a very specific 3-year safety net so no one gets unfairly left behind. During this transition, there are transitory exemptions. If you have consistently high performance, meaning very satisfactory ratings across the board, but you just barely missed one specific outstanding rating needed for a role, you can still be considered. Same goes if you have generally satisfactory performance but lack an indicator for Teacher 4, or if you're a master teacher who got tripped up simply because an indicator switched from NCOI to COI. Even if you have performance gaps just because you are on an approved official leave, like maternity leave, you are protected under this exemption.
Now, you don't just get a free pass for these exemptions. You have to actively commit to growth. You'll need to use the Teacher's Commitment Form on PPST indicators for development. If you fall into one of those exemption categories, you'll sit down with your principal, identify up to 3 specific PPST indicators where you fell short, and officially sign this document. You're basically making a formal commitment to improve in those exact areas during the current school year. And the best part is, this system actually supports you in fulfilling that commitment. You can demonstrate your improvement through a variety of ways. You could schedule new classroom observations. You might design and participate in learning action cells to really hone your pedagogical approaches. You can undergo formal performance coaching with your rater, or you can even participate in DepEd initiatives like the RL program. The entire goal here is development, absolutely not punishment. But, and this is absolutely vital, mark your calendars, this safety net, this relaxation of performance requirements is strictly limited. The order explicitly states that after February 24th, 2028, the transition period ends. Done. After that date, the strict performance requirements for reclassification are going to be enforced without exception. So if you have gaps to fill, the clock is officially ticking. Do not wait until 2027 to start organizing that portfolio and making those development commitments. So, we've covered the merit-based shift, who's covered, how to earn those crucial points, and how to navigate the transition period. The ultimate question for you right now is, what are you going to do with this roadmap today? The transition support is totally in place, but remember, that clock is ticking. Take this information, get those 201 files organized, and go claim that promotion you've worked so hard for. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and seriously, keep up the amazing work you do for our learners every single day.